All right. Welcome to it. Tyler Columbus here with Mount Columbus Speaks. My fourth episode, I believe I've ever done here. It's Raiders week, baby. Raiders week, and we got a lot to get done here tonight. Probably go for 30 or 40 minutes here tonight. I got some television I got to watch because who's got to. Everybody's got to get to that Netflix and chill, right? Okay, here's what I got on the table here for today. Obviously, Raider Hater Week. We got to go over this story times. Is this rivalry dead? Seriously, will we ever get the Denver Broncos versus Raiders rivalry back the way that it belongs, the way that it once was? Oh man, it's a weird feeling. We'll talk about that. I got some stories. I got some great stories about when I was playing the Raiders, especially in my second year. I was playing a big old defensive lineman. I'll tease it here. I'll save the story here for a little bit later. But big old defensive lineman, and I got a face full of ass, of grown man ass, right in my face, bare grown man ass right in my face. That's what I got in the Raiders game. I'll tell you that story. Got another great story involving me and Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver, ended up on NFL Films because Brandon didn't tell me that he was mic'd up. That's a no-no. You're supposed to tell your teammates when you're mic'd up so that they know. I ended up on NFL Films unknowingly. And then lastly, we'll go over the key matchups for this game. Obviously, this is an important one. I'll break down what's going on, all the dysfunction out there in Vegas right now. How do the Broncos match up against the Raiders? So on and so forth. So before we get going, appreciate all of you guys that are tuning in right now. Got about 100 people that just jumped on. I bet we get up to 1,000 before this thing's all said and done. Going to take a quick second here to plug myself. Mount Columbus Speaks is a brand new podcast, just getting this thing rocking and rolling. We're going to do a lot of cool things on here. We're going to do game film breakdowns. I'll show you the actual film. I'll do some lines, do the circles, do all the above, show you who's playing well. Obviously, I'll keep you up to date on all the daily news, and I'll be on your screens a lot, quite a lot, I hope, if all things go as planned. So, that being said, I'm on Apple Podcasts, I'm on Spotify, and we're on YouTube. YouTube's the one that I'm really trying to push right now. So if you would please do me a favor, go over to YouTube right now, subscribe to me. The link is in my bio for at Mount Columbus. I'm actually doing a really cool giveaway on Twitter right now. If you haven't seen, go scroll through my timeline. I'm giving away a signed football. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you somewhere. Here we go. I'm giving away a signed football right here from the 2015 season. Full team signed football. Peyton Manning's on there. CJ Anderson, everybody's on there. All you got to do is go to my YouTube, subscribe, retweet that tweet, and follow me on Twitter. And somebody's going to end up with a full team signed football. It's a pretty cool giveaway. So do me a favor, get on YouTube right now, get subscribed. And get interactive with me during this podcast here because I want to hear all your guys' stories as well from your youth growing up, watching the Raiders, what it meant to you, just anything that you got from your memories of when this rivalry used to be at its prime. All right, let's break this sucker down. Let's get rocking and rolling. Raider week, Raider Hater week. Man, before I get going, I'm sorry. I said I was going to start. Before I get going, got my Chuck Nasty shirt on, Charlie Blackman, my Spirit Rocky, Ugly Beards Unite, Chuck Nasty, hell of a career, my friend, hell of a career. Congratulations to him. I thought the Rockies did a tremendous job of sending Charlie off in his last couple games there, got all his family involved. He got a hit, put him on base. They pulled him out. So his last memory as a Colorado Rocky was getting a hit. That was a cool deal. So anyways, just want a quick shout out to Chuck Nasty there. This is my favorite Rocky shirt. Matter of fact, it's my only Rocky shirt. I'm not going to lie. All right, Raider Hater Week. Man, when I was growing up, well before I got into the league, this game freaking meant something. I know you guys remember it. I know you guys remember when this game meant something, when it was nasty, when it was ugly, when the Raiders were at their best, when the Broncos were at their best, when Mike Shanahan got wronged, when Al Davis fired Mike Shanahan and refused to pay the man his money, and the team wanted to go give it to the Raiders because they knew that their head coach was wronged. And the fan base hated him. The players hated him. The Raiders hated the Broncos hated the Raiders. And it was a great matchup. And when I got into the league, I remember that feeling well, going out to Oakland and, getting down there with all the crazy bodies and the face paint and the spikes on the shoulders and everything else that was going on. It was a cool experience, man. It was a really, really cool experience. And there weren't a whole lot of games like that in the NFL. In college football, rivalries are everywhere. In the NFL, they're really kind of hard to come by, especially from the players' point of view, because players are a bunch of mercenaries that bounce around from team to team. Every guy's going to end up playing on 4 or 5 teams over the course of their career. And so it's hard to develop that hate that you have like at the college level because you play the same guys over and over. And in the NFL, it's just different. But this game always was something extra. And God, do I miss that. How about this for a sad stat? The Las Vegas Raiders, since they've been in Vegas, they've beat the Broncos every freaking time they played them. 8 straight times the Las Vegas Raiders have beat the Denver Broncos. Oh, throw me in front of a bus. What are we talking about? The Broncos can't beat the Raiders? The Raiders? And the Raiders have had dysfunction, by the way, and they got dysfunction going on right now. The Raiders got major dysfunction going on. They got Davante Adams wanting his way out. They got a head coach playing childish games on Twitter. Their head coach, Antonio Pierce, liked to tweet about Davante Adams had played his last snap as a Las Vegas Raider. And when I first saw that, I thought to myself, nah, that dude fat thumbed that thing. No way a head coach is out there actually actively liking tweets about his own players that they played their last down as a member of the organization. Head coaches aren't going to play childish games on social media, right? Wrong. Boy, was I wrong. the very next day, Davante Adams goes on with Kay Adams, and he's talking about it, and he's acting like his head coach had wronged him. And then he says there's a lot of trade chatter out there, but none of the trade chatter comes from 1-7. No, not 1-7. He wouldn't do that. 2.5 hours later, breaking news: Davante Adams demands a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, whatever. I'm here for it. I'm here for all the drama. Apparently, the head coach is playing childish games. Apparently, Davante Adams is faking an injury. He had a hamstring injury last week, and that hamstring injury now, that's not looking too authentic, is it? I'm sure he'll be out again this week. I don't know if Davante Adams is in the building or not right now. I hope he is. I hope he's on that training table getting his hamstring worked on, complaining about the organization to all his teammates. Nah, you guys got to get out of here too. You got to get out of here. I hope that the head coach, Antonio Pierce, has to go across Davante Adams in the hallway this week. I'm here for all the drama. Max Crosby is banged up. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He's got a high ankle sprain, missed last week's game. He hasn't practiced yet this week. He might play in the game. We'll see. But even if he does play in the game, he's banged up. So that's good. Their best wide receiver's out. They might make a change at quarterback. Last week, they publicly said that they might make a change at quarterback. They ended up sticking with Gardner Minshew. But we'll see what kind of changes they make this week. But my point is, there's dysfunction all over the place inside the Raiders organization. Now is the frickin' time to get the monkey off the back for the Denver Broncos. It's time to beat the Raiders. Seriously, coming off 2 great road wins for the Broncos. Offense led a lot to be desired last week. That's all right. That's all right. Had a great week the week before in Tampa Bay. You got the win in New York. That's all that matters. It's a tough place to go get a win right now. New York's a pretty good football team. They got dysfunction also. Actually, they got more dysfunction than the Raiders right now. But it's still a good football team. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback. So you're coming off 2 good wins. And now you got an opportunity to go get 3. The Raiders are a beatable football team right now. This is a football team that you can beat. And I want them to go do it with a freaking passion, man, because I want this rivalry to come back. I want it to come back. Do me a favor. We got a bunch of comments coming in on the text line here, whether that's from YouTube or Twitter Live, wherever you're watching right now. Send me in your stories, your favorite rivalry stories. Tell me about when you had a moment with a Raiders fan as a kid, your mom, your dad, your parents. What did it mean to you? Joe, Broncos fan first, Raider hater second, even above the teams I'm a fan of in other sports or other levels. So that means he hates the Raiders more than other teams he likes in other sports, I think. I'm not a very smart man. Man, you know what's sad about this? I got to admit it, man. I'm a part of the problem. I'm sitting here calling for the Broncos to make this rivalry right again. And I'm a part of the problem, man. If I'm being honest, I don't hate the Raiders as much as I hate the Chiefs anymore. I don't. I hate the Chiefs so much more than I hate the Raiders. God bless it. The Chiefs are sleepwalking through the NFL right now, and they're 4-0. Travis Kelce can't catch a ball. He's fat and out of shape, and he's traveling all over the world with Taylor Swift. Patrick Mahomes seems a little bit off. They're sleepwalking, and they're still 4-0. And of course, they're going to figure it out. And of course, Travis Kelce's going to get in shape. And of course, he's probably going to get 3 touchdowns when they play the Broncos. But my personal hate right now is for the Chiefs because they're on top of the world. The Raiders have sucked for a long time. The Broncos have sucked for a long time. And so when you got 2 sucky teams, it loses its appeal, doesn't it? It loses its appeal big time. And if I really am being honest, I hate the Chiefs more than I hate the Raiders. And I can't even believe I'm saying that because I grew up here in Denver, man. I grew up on these streets going to the Super Bowl parades. When I got to go to my own parade in 2015, I was standing on the stage that I was looking at my heroes on when I was a little kid. I was in those parades. I had a pretty damn unique career getting to grow up here and play here. And I know what this game means against the Raiders. And even I feel like it's lost its appeal. Gosh, dang it. What's it going to take to get them back on track, man? Mike DeBerry from Albuquerque. I hate the Raiders. Awesome seeing you. Been following your media career since Broncos radio back in the day. Appreciate you, Mike. Really do. Appreciate you. Mount Columbus speak. I am. I'm speaking hot sauce. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, this is what I'm looking for, Trace. This is what I'm looking for. This is a great point. Talib snatching Crabtree's train. Excuse me. I speak in the microphone for a living. It's easy. Talib snatching Crabtree's chain was the great moment of the rivalry. The last great moment. That was a good moment, wasn't it? Happened a couple times in a year, right? That first time, boom, takes it. Then he goes out there. I was actually working the broadcast after I'd retired. I was working the sidelines for the Broncos game over on KOA at the time. And I was standing about 5 feet from it when Aqib Talib snatched Michael Crabtree's chain the second time. And it turned into an all-out melee, man. I mean, it was like offense versus defense on the sideline, probably 15, 20 people in on that fight. And I've got my microphone, and I'm about ready to drop that microphone and start laying hands because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the passion, man. I'd retired, but I still felt that hate for the Raiders. I still felt that thing. That was a beautiful moment. You're right, Savage Tone. That was a beautiful, beautiful moment, wasn't it? We need more of that. We need more of that. Yeah, John, you're right. Let's see. John says Raiders not mattered in a long time. Raiders suck. Well, you know what sucks? Either of the Broncos. The Broncos haven't mattered in a long time. I think the Broncos are working on something here, though. I do. Do you know what the all-time, not that this means jack squat, because it doesn't. I'm definitely not a guy that thinks what happened in 1970 has anything to do with what's happening here in 2024. But you know what the all-time series record is between the Raiders and the Broncos? It's not good. If you would have just asked me, had I not looked it up, I honestly would have thought that the Broncos had dominated this series over the longevity. 72, 53, and 2 in the Raiders' favor. They've actually beaten the Broncos 19 more times. That sucks. Well, It was only 11 more times until the last 8-game winning streak began for the Raiders. It was only 11. Now it's up to 19 because they won 8 frickin' games straight. Wes Williams Real Estate. Romanowski breaking Shannon Sharp's elbow. Eddie Royal kicking the Raiders' ass, man. That was my rookie. Well, Eddie did it a lot. But my rookie year, when we went out there to Oakland and Eddie just went off, that's a memory I'll never forget. Who do you guys hate more? Seriously, at this point where the Broncos are, do you hate the Raiders? Do you hate the Chiefs more? Or is it another team? Do you hate somebody else more? Look, for the Broncos to have a rivalry again, well, you got to become good at football. That's the reality. I remember when Coach Mack came to see you and he made Nebraska a red letter game. Well, Colorado couldn't beat Nebraska. That's why he made it a red letter game. And then Nebraska refused to admit that Colorado's a rivalry for a long, long time. And I understand why, because they dominated the series matchup. Eventually, Colorado got good. They started beating Nebraska's brains in. And all of a sudden, it was a true rivalry on both sides. Nebraska might still deny it a little bit, kind of like Buffs deny it with CSU, but that thing became a rivalry. I'll show Wes again here one more time. He says, right now, I hate the Chiefs, Kelsey Taylor more, and it's not even close. You know what? I'm not a Tay-Tay hater, actually. Am I supposed to hate Tay-Tay? Is that what you're supposed to do? Man, old Lincoln Kennedy, that was a good football player. All right, here's my stories. Here's my stories for my rookie year. No, my second year in the NFL. My rookie year in the NFL, I dressed for every single game as the swing tackle. I played on a few special teams in every single game, but I didn't play one single snap in the regular season as a tackle because Ryan Clady and Ryan Harris didn't get hurt. They didn't stub their toe. They didn't get a sprained ankle. They didn't get a dislocated finger. They played every single snap of my rookie year, so I never got on the field. My second year, Ryan Harris gets hurt in the Ravens game, and I end up starting, I think it was 9 or 10 games that year, including against the Raiders. And we're down there in the goal line, going down to the south stands, playing at home. We're going down in the south stands, and we've got, if I remember right, it was some sort of sweep to the right, and I'm blocking, I'm engaged. Big old Tommy Kelly. I think Richard Seymour was on the team also. Big old Tommy Kelly goes down one guy in front of me. I end up tripping and falling, and I get up, and Tommy Kelly's rear end is 1 foot in front of me, totally de-pantsed, bare ass, right in front of me. Matter of fact, I almost forgot. I clipped that, and I'm going to show it for you. Tommy Kelly's big old bare ass ends up right in front.
Here's the handoff. Trying to get in, and he will not. Ridden down. Tommy Kelly comes back in the game. Oh, whoops. Whoa. Tommy Kelly comes back in the game. Oh, whoops. Whoops.
Over here. There it goes. Now it's back. I'm number 76. I'm playing right tackle. Unfortunately, I can't rewind this thing on this platform, so it's tough for me to go back. So I'm going to play it again one more time. But I'm number 76, the right tackle, and I want you to look close. When I trip and I fall, I mean, my face is staring directly into this man's bare ass.
Here's the handoff. Trying to get in, and he will not. Ridden down. Tommy Kelly comes back in the game. Oh, whoops. Whoa. Tommy Kelly comes back in the game. Oh,
whoops. That was a memory. That was a memory. That'll leave you hating the Raiders, having to see that dude's old big hairy ass right in front of you. That was a fun game. That same game, Brandon Marshall, wide receiver. I always got to say that because we got two Brandon Marshalls here with the Denver Broncos. Brandon Marshall, linebacker, and the wide receiver. Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver, is mic'd up. And at some point in that game, I think it was this game. We'll pretend it was, even if it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was. At some point in that game, somebody had a laser pointer in the stands, and they were shining it on all the players, right? And so they actually stopped the game, and the game gets stopped for a long time, and they can't figure out where the heck this dude is because they want to keep the game playing. Because what if it gets to somebody's face? What if it affects the play? Whatever. So play stops. They got police officers that are walking through the stands trying to find whoever's got the dang laser pointer. And Brandon Marshall happens to see who it is, and it was somebody up in the south stands, right where we were marching, trying to go score. And Brandon goes and grabs the police officers. And so he gets him, walks up right to the edge where the fans are, and points out the fan. So Brandon comes back to the huddle. I'm just messing with him a little bit, and I might have dropped an F-bomb in there, and I said, "Hey, frickin' snitch." I didn't know that Brandon was mic'd up. I didn't know he was mic'd up. Well, it turns out he was, and they end up showing that entire interaction, including Brandon pointing out to the police officers, the guy with the laser pointer, walking up, getting the dude kicked out of the game, coming back to the huddle, and there's Columbus, freaking snitch. Come on, Brandon. You gotta let me know when you're mic'd up. That's the etiquette. You tell your friends, tell your family you're mic'd up. Your buddy's got to know. All right, hey, quick break here, just real quick to again tell you guys I got a great giveaway going on Twitter right now. If you haven't seen it, go to my timeline. There is a signed Super Bowl 50 football. The entire team: Peyton Manning, C.J. Anderson, Tyler Columbus. Obviously, that's why you want that sucker, right? The entire team is on it. Here it is. Let's see if I can show you. Where's Peyton? Oh, I can show you Peyton right now. Right there. That's Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, nice and easy to see, right? Because we all write so carefully with our autographs. I'm giving away this football. All you got to do is go to my Twitter, retweet it, then go to my YouTube. The link's in my bio if you need it. The link is also in the tweet there. And subscribe. Tried to build up my YouTube subscribers, and that would be doing me a huge favor if you would please do that for me. Matter of fact, I'm going to check in on it right now, see how we're doing. It's hard, man. I'm starting YouTube from scratch. Whoa, we're kicking butt, man. I started the day with like 10 subscribers. We're up to 456. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Keep them rolling in. All you got to do is retweet that tweet, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and I'm giving away that game ball to a random fan. There's a third-party service that is a random Twitter selector, and then I'm going to send it out. We will hopefully we can get whoever gets the football to send out a tweet showing a photo of it. This is a pretty cool piece of Broncos history that can be in your living room. All right, I'm not going to go a whole lot longer here tonight, but I do want to just go over the matchups here with the Raiders, what's going on with them. Look, the Raiders, we've all talked about this plenty. The Raiders have beaten the Broncos 8 straight times. It's been painful. It's been ugly, but what's going on now? And is that the Broncos hump? Sean Payton famously said about the Chiefs record that was going on, the loss streak, that it wasn't his hump. Well, Sean, unfortunately, the Raiders is your hump because you have lost to the Raiders twice. So you are a part of the Raiders hump. We got to get that monkey off our back. The Raiders offense ranks 24th in the NFL right now. They're trying to figure things out. They don't have it all figured out right now. They're a work in progress. They did beat the Baltimore Ravens, and it was a great win, man. I watched that game. I don't know how many of you guys watched that game against the Ravens, but Gardner Minshew goes in there and is dealing Outright dealing, man. Tossing the ball all over the place. They win 5 wide. Rich Scarello, I'm sure you guys remember him, former Broncos offensive coordinator, I believe in 2019. Rich Scangarello is the Raiders offensive coordinator right now, and they're trying to figure things out. They're not running the ball great. Matter of fact, they're terrible at running the ball. They're 31st in the NFL. They're getting about 76.3 yards per game. Passing, they're doing better. They're doing okay. They're 13th in the NFL, getting 212 yards per game, and they're 19th in points. They scored 19.5 points per game. They just lost to the they just beat the Cleveland Browns 20-16. But it is the Browns. They got beat by the Panthers the week before that, 36-22. They let Andy Dalton put up 300 some yards on them. And they lost to the Panthers. The week before that, they beat the Ravens 26-23. The week before that, week 1, they lost to the Chargers 22-10. So same record as the Broncos. They're 2-2, just like we are, and they're trying to figure things out. However, I do think that team's a hot mess right now, and the Broncos are on the way up. Joey, Columbus out here giving the best giveaway ever. Hell yeah, Joey. I'm trying. Hey, look, if you guys don't want to subscribe to me because you like me, I'll buy your love. I'm not above buying love. We've all done it before. Key matchup in this game, if he's healthy, is Max Crosby and our tackles. That dude can ball now. I way underestimated Max Crosby when he was coming into the league, man. He typical just high motor white dude doing all things to the end of the whistle. He's got to do everything right. And that's kind of what I thought of him. You know, whatever we always joked in the NFL about guys like that they make all their plays just by effort at the end of the play. Well, that's not what he is. That dude is just a flat out baller. Max Crosby can do everything. He can bull rush. He can beat you with speed. He can get you on the spin moves. He's got great hands. He loves MMA. He trains a lot in MMA. So that's going to be the matchup. The Broncos have been doing pretty good with their tackles the last 2 weeks. Alex Palczewski stepped in there, filling in for Mike McGlinchey, doing a tremendous job. I'm not saying he's better than Mike McGlinchey, but I will say this. The last 2 games, he played a whole lot better than Mike McGlinchey has the previous 2 games. There's probably not a way to figure out how to get Alex Palczewski permanently into the lineup because the starting 5 is pretty well written in stone, but he's playing damn good football. And I'll say this, no rush to get Mike McGlinchey back because Alex Palczewski is doing great. That being said, if he does go up against Max Crosby, that's going to be a different story, man. Different story. Look, defensively, the Raiders, they're doing okay. Not great. They're 21st in total defense, but they're giving up quite a lot of yards, man. I mean, they're giving up 344 yards per game. Middle of the road in passing, 17th in the NFL, giving up 206 yards, and 24th in rush defense, giving up about 137 yards per game. The problem is the Broncos offense sucks, right? Broncos offense has an opportunity here, and let's hope they take advantage of a pretty bad Raiders defense because the Broncos offense is 27th in the NFL. Look, Bo Nix has had 1 good game, 3 bad games, and we got to get some progress. Because despite the fact that the Denver Broncos defense is the best defense in the NFL, statistically, I think they're about number 3. In reality, it's the best defense in the NFL. Vance Joseph is blitzing the house. He's blitzing more than any other team, highest blitz percentage in the NFL. They're getting sacks. They got 5 sacks last week against Aaron Rodgers. And now they need to go take advantage of a Raiders offense that is struggling. But the Raiders are going to throw the ball around. They go 5 wide, man. They do because they can't run the ball, like, at all. At all. Broncos are trying to get better in rushing the football. You know, they're ranked 20th, which certainly isn't good. But last week was a major step in the right direction for the running game. Look, Tyler Bidet goes down. That was a scary deal. Fortunately, he's okay. He got on a commercial flight and came back to Denver. I think it was just a couple hours after the team chartered plane left. But fortunately, he was able to get back that night. And I don't know what his status is or anything in terms of when he's going to be back to playing football. But Javonte Williams gets back in there. Jaleel obviously got a handful of carries, and Jaleel always has his moments where he just shines. He's like a highlight reel. Sometimes he'll disappear is the problem. But Javonte Williams is a dude that was, I think, getting benched. Not benched. He was going to be playing, but the rotation was changing. He was the starting running back, and if you watch the beginning of the Jets game, it was pretty clear they were trying to get more carries to Tyler Bidet. Very, very clear that that's what they were trying to do. Well, Tyler goes down. Now, Javonte, you got to go back into the lineup. And Javonte looked great, man. I don't know how close you guys were able to watch it. I put together a highlight reel on my Twitter. You can find it, of Alex Palczewski and Javonte Williams, how well they played in that game. Javonte looked young. He looked fresh. He didn't look like his injuries were a problem. The dude was a man on a mission. And it's funny how sometimes in life, when you feel the threat of losing your job, all of a sudden you come back with a vengeance. And that's what Javonte did. But I'll say this. Was it all Javonte? No, the offensive line was doing their job. The Broncos were able to take advantage of a very aggressive Jets defensive line with some traps in the running game. Traps are like, there's a couple ways to take advantage of a defensive line that gets up the field. Draws are one, and traps are the other. So you invite those defensive linemen to get up the field, and then so the first guy will just kind of act like he's whiffing on him. He'll climb up to the linebacker. Then you get a pulling guard that comes through, boom, smacks that dude that thinks he's running jet-free, scot-free up to the running back, and you just knock him out clear. And they're able to get a couple really good traps in for Javonte Williams. But then Javonte exploded. So I don't know what Javonte Williams' future is, but I know the Broncos are going to be relying on him again. And I loved what I saw there. So if the Broncos running game can take over against the Raiders, that would be great. That would be great for the rest of the season because Bo Nix ain't there yet. Bo Nix isn't ready for the big time just yet. I'm not hating on Bo Nix. It's just the reality. He's 4 games into his rookie season, and he's not even close to being a functioning quarterback. That's a little bit aggressive. Functioning, he's functioning. He's not even close to being a good NFL quarterback. I think he can get there, but the best way to get there for a young guy is to be able to run the hell out of the football. So the Raiders defense, I think they're going to give you some opportunities, man. I think they're going to give you some opportunities. They're 24th in the NFL in rush defense. They give up 137.5 yards per game. That 0.5 is important. Don't want to forget about the 0.5. And the Broncos, like I said, are 20th in rushing, getting about 106 yards per game on the ground. The problem for the Broncos, though, the majority of the games, your leading rusher has been your quarterback, Bo Nix. That's not ideal. You certainly don't. I love the fact that Bo Nix has got great feet. And for a young quarterback, that's really, really important to be able to have a default to go to when things aren't going great. Get out of the pocket and run. I don't want him to do it a lot because I hate running quarterbacks. That's not the way that you win in the NFL. But Bo Nix isn't a running quarterback. He's just a athletic quarterback that's capable of getting you 2 or 3 first downs per game with his feet. So if he gets you 2 or 3 first downs per game with his feet, gets out of the pocket, awesome. A couple short yardages, you go with the RPOs or you go with the zone reads, get you 10 to 12 yards there on a zone read. That's all you need out of it. So it's great that he's been mobile. The problem is when your quarterback is your leading rusher, that means your rush attack sucks. So the Broncos got to get that figured out, man. They got to get that figured out. Just want to give another quick shout out to somebody else in the Raiders organization that I know and love. You guys may or may not know this name, but Champ Kelly. Champ Kelly used to be a scout here with the Broncos for a long time when I was a young player. Has been bouncing around the NFL on the fast track for what it's felt like for a while to become a GM. Has had an opportunity, interviewed to become the GM with the Raiders this year, but he landed as the assistant GM. Champ Kelly is a great dude. I'll tell you a quick story with Champ. So when I retired after the Super Bowl, I was weighing 310 pounds or so. And I dropped like 40 pounds, boom, like overnight. I just stopped eating so much. I wasn't working out. I knew I was retiring, of course. And I got a handful of phone calls throughout free agency. And I told my agent, hey, I don't even want you to tell me if somebody calls because it's going to tempt me to go back. And I really want to move on to the second part of my life. So my agent didn't even communicate any of those calls with me, even though I knew there were some coming in. And then in training camp, I get a call from Champ Kelly. Champ's out there with the Bears, and it wasn't unusual for Champ Kelly to call me once or twice a year. We would catch up here and there. We had a pretty damn good relationship. It was a bit unusual because usually you don't form relationships, at least deep relationships, with scouts on your team because scouts are on the road. They're all over America. So anyways, Champ calls me during training camp in what would have been the 2016 season, the year after the Super Bowl. And I think he's just, dumb old Palumbo over here. I think he's just calling to check in, see how you're doing. He's like, hey, Tyler, how you doing, man? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm retired over here, living my best life. Yeah, what you been doing? Oh, right now, sitting on the beer, sitting on the porch, drinking a beer. Sitting on the beer, that'd be unique. I was sitting on the porch drinking a beer. He's like, oh yeah, you been working out? No, not at all. What are you weighing? About 260 pounds or so. I'm 216 right now, by the way. About 260 pounds or so. Oh, yeah? Because I'm calling to offer you a job. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, crap. The dude's calling to offer me a job. Have you been working out? No. What are you weighing? 260. What are you doing right now? Having a beer? like Tumbo Palumbo. I think this dude's just calling to check in with me. Well, he asked me then. He's like, "All right, man. Well, I know you've lost a bunch of weight. Can you get it back on?" And I'm like, man, I'm retired, bro. I'm so tempted. It's hard to walk away from the game, but I'm retired. I'm retired. He says, "Yeah, but I know you, man. I trust you. I love you. I think you can put the weight back on if you want to do it." I'm like, oh man, you're leaving it open-ended. Anyways, hang up the phone call. The first thing I did after I hung up that phone call is I drove to McDonald's and I got 3 double cheeseburgers. That's a true story. I went straight to McDonald's. I'm like, I got to get some calories back in me. Well, I thought about it for about 48 hours. I slept on it and I stayed retired. But Champ Kelly's a great dude. Got to see him. He was one of about 40 scouts that was at CU's home opener against North Dakota State. I was working the sidelines of that broadcast with Mark Johnson and Gary Barnett, and I'm down there on the sidelines. And dude, I tell you, I have never seen so many scouts at a college football game ever. And it was Colorado versus North Dakota State. Champ Kelly was one of them. About the only team that I didn't see any scouts from was the Broncos, and I'm sure they were actually there. I just didn't see them. But got to catch up with Champ there a little bit. He was hanging out with Daniel Graham, another former teammate of mine, another great Colorado Buffalo. Got to play with him here in Denver. I wasn't teammates with him at CU, but we were teammates up there or down there in Denver. So anyways, just want to give a shout out to Champ Kelly. Told you that quick story. I love you guys. Another quick reminder here. If anybody has just tuned in, doing a giveaway on Twitter. If you just subscribe to my YouTube, the link's right there in my Twitter. If you subscribe to me on YouTube, you retweet that tweet and you follow me on Twitter, I'm giving away a full team signed 2015 Super Bowl team signed football. How did I say that? I'm not, look, English is hard. Words are hard. You guys get the point. It's a signed football. It's cool. You want it. Go follow me on all those various accounts, and we'll pick a winner in 48 hours. All right, fam. That's it for it tonight. Love you guys. Mount Columbus out.